Perfect, thank you. Get in there. So if you give me the okay that you see the screen, I'll go ahead.
Yep, works for me.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you everybody for joining us today. So I'm going to start just going over the basic functionality of GSIM and some of a little bit of history and what it's supposed to do for you when you start using it. So first of all, what is GSIM? Well, GSIM is the first internationally endorsed reference framework for statistical information, and it's one of the many models and standards developed by the UNEC supporting standards group. It's been around for almost 15 years, I think it's 13, 14 by now, and it went through a few iterations and refinements during this time. So GSIM, like its name suggests, is an information model, which is designed to capture key information aspects of statistical production, from processes to concepts, data organization, and exchange. The model was developed as an implementation independent model, which is very important in this context, from which software solutions can be developed using implementation standards like DDI or SDMX. In addition, GSIM is a catalog of standardized information classes with agreed upon names, definitions, properties, and relationships that function as a common language between subject matter, methodology, and IT. It's also a common language that can help to improve communication within and between statistical organizations at national and international levels. Last but not least, it's a foundation to enable statistical organizations to rethink their businesses using common description of statistical production, regardless of the subject matter being discussed. Okay, so this is the latest version of GSIM. I know you cannot read this, but hopefully it will give you a sense of the complexity and the size. It's a big model and not very approachable for the newcomer. And as in most information models, boxes represent information classes and arrows associations denoting relationships between the information classes. At first glance, we can see that there are 5 different colors denoting the 5 different GSIM groups, which we'll describe in the webinar in more details. Well, a silver lining to the complexity of the model is that you don't really need to understand the entire model for beginning to use it in specific use cases. There are a few useful entry points we will discuss next. So let's say we have some data we want to describe to some level of detail to make it interoperable, meaning easy to correctly interpret and use in a machine actionable way. So these are the core classes to do that. The data is essentially organized in data sets, which consist of data points. The data set can be further described with data structures, which consist of data structure components. Referential metadata at the top includes things like quality information, methodology, etc., that qualifies the data set in some way, so that you know how good the data set is, what happened to it, and other information that might be useful to understand it. The semantic of the data and their representations are maintaining variables at different levels. Conceptual represented an instance, and we will talk more about that, and their conceptual and value domains. Now, we got the data through some exchange instrument, which is based on some provision agreement, and we'll hand it over downstream when it's ready, using some sort of exchange instrument as well, and another provision agreement. Provenance and lineage and things like that can be described with functions and processes at different level of detail, explaining what happened to the data, how it was produced, where it's coming from, together with the agents involved. Every instance in the model has a unique identifier as well. So as I mentioned before, there are 5 different groups. The concepts group in green covers data semantics and representations. The structure group in yellow provides the building blocks to organize data and metadata. The business group in blue contains descriptions for business functions, services, and processes. The exchange group in pink contains elements for data and metadata sharing and exchange, both internally and externally to the agency. Finally, the base group in orange deals with common elements for identification and referencing, versioning, and administration of the instances of the model. The rest of the webinar will go into all these groups in more detail. So summing up, these are the core classes that function as entry points to the model. The rest is connected to these ones, either directly or indirectly, to provide more details, and might not be necessary in many situations, and some of them might. So starting from here, you can add as much as you need as you go. Thanks, and over to you.